इतना सफर है कुछ होने में और बहुत कुछ होने में। इतना सा फर्क है एक बार सोच के छोड़ देने में और लग के कर दिखाने में। मान लेने में कि जिंदगी ऐसे ही कटेगी और सुबह 4 बजे उठ के सोचने में कि अभी तो बस शुरुआत है। किसी मैगजीन को हाथ में लेने में और उसी मैगजीन के कवर पेज पे होने में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वीआईपी सीट में और उसकी पिछली सीट में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वो जिसका मैदान ही खुला आसमान है वही कल जमीन पर तो था। पूछोगे तो बताएगा वो पंछी कि एक दायरे में सिमटने में और पूरी दुनिया को दायरा बनाने में बस इतना सा फर्क है। इतना कितना है? इतना है या इतना है? जो नापेगा वो जाने कि जहां धरती और आसमान मिलते हैं, नानकुर से दूर, अगर मगर शायद से दूर, वहां भी दोनों में फर्क बस इतना सा है। धरती और 7वें आसमान में फर्क बस इतना सा है। ये एक अंतर प्रेरणा है। ये हमारी, आपकी, हम सब की अंतर प्रेरणा है। एक कदम, एक छलांग, एक बाजी, एक गहरी सांस और एक ललकार खुली हवाओं में कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन फिजाओं के लिए, कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन ऊंचाइयों के लिए जो ऊंची तो बहुत है पर नामुमकिन भी नहीं है। क्योंकि मुमकिन और नामुमकिन में बस इतना सा फर्क है। धूप छांव में फर्क बस इतना सा है। तो बस चलिए फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया के साथ ये फर्क मिटा देते हैं। फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया, 20 years of ideas.
Good afternoon, one and all. With all small and big initiatives, efforts. Since 1999, Franchise India is helping all the brands to showcase their brands to all our potential business buyers and helping both the parties to get their destination. With this introduction, we welcome you to the 59th episode of Business Opportunity Over Chai, a webinar series. We welcome our panel member, Mr. Gaurav Maria, who's the chairman at Franchise India Group, an entrepreneur and author. We also welcome our second panelist, Ms. Sonia Chaudhary. She is the MD at Franchise India Brands Limited and Director at Remax. And both are all hosting this particular webinar today and will be sharing their insights, their views and suggestion and industry watch for all our viewers. We welcome brand of the day, Tribe Amrapali. Yes, you heard it right, Tribe Amrapali, a globally recognized name, a dream of Akansha Arora and Taran Arora. Akansha, she is the CEO at Tribe Amrapali, and Taran Arora, he heads international operation and design. A brand which is present in online since 2013. They are already operational in Bombay, Jaipur, and Delhi. And today we have privilege that we have Devashish Mehrotra, who is the business head at Tribe Amrapali, talking about this great brand. Welcome, Devashish. Over to you to share the journey of Tribe Amrapali digitally with all our investors. Thank you so much.
Good morning to all of you. Firstly, thank you, Gauravji and Sonia ji, for today giving me this opportunity to present this wonderful initiative and opportunity and this brand in front of your esteemed audience and showcase what this brand is about, okay, and the opportunity which we present for the investor community in India. So with your kind permission, I will start the presentation now.
Yes, Devji, we can start.
Yes, sir.
Tribe Amrapali. Now, what Tribe Amrapali, this is a brand from the staple of the Amrapali Jewels. This Amrapali Jewels as a brand is based out of Jaipur, and they started their journey around 48 years back in this country. And from a very, very small set up, Mr. Rajiv Arora, along with his partner, Mr. Rajesh Ajmera, they started this journey. And today, this brand is globally known as one of the most respected jewelry brands in the country, not only in India, is globally known and the best of the globe wear and adore this brand per se. So, how did Tribe come about? Amrapali as a brand is a very fine jewelry brand, which is it's basically a high-end brand. Okay, and there were a lot of people who basically wanted to buy Amrapali, but maybe could not afford it. And that's how the concept of affordable luxury came in, and that's how Tribe came in. Okay, and when Tribe was born 6 years back, okay, the journey started with basically, it was the idea of Ms. Asanksha Arora and Mr. Tarang Arora, who are the second generation entrepreneurs who had this particular business, okay, as promoters of this particular brand. Okay, so those two very enterprising people, they thought they need to do something new, and that's when Tribe was born, and basically we started the online business for Tribe. So how is Tribe different from Amrapali? Okay, Tribe sells fashion jewelry at an affordable price point of 500 rupees to 1 lakh rupees. What Tribe specializes in silver jewelry, gold-plated jewelry, and base metal, what is brass. So these are three kind of products which basically Tribe basically takes pride in manufacturing and marketing. So basically, what is Tribe known about? Tribe is known about for intrinsic designs, its concepts. The kind of design which Tribe basically comes out with is like very unique, and our customers really praise us. Like they are basically very fond of our designs basically, and that's one of the major reasons why Tribe as a brand is successful today. Is we are able to basically give to a customer the best and the latest what we have to offer. We have, as a fashion jewelry brand, we offer all these kind of products across to a consumer. It's a complete array, it's a complete bouquet of products, right from earring to men's accessories. We are there into everything and anything. So for a customer who walks into a store, he has a complete variety to choose from. We are into basically three categories of jewelry. One is tribal, then you have traditional, and then you have contemporary. If you look at our collections per se, we are known for one. We start with Chandrika basically. This is a particular collection which has been there with us for the last many years, and it's been the most highest selling collection for us. Is basically known for its design intricity, concepts. The people just love this particular design. People come to us, back to us again and again, asking us for this particular brand, that we want designs for the Chandrika collection. Then you have Nilkamal. This is again a concept-based jewelry from Jodhpur. Then you have Navram. Then you have Shiva. This is basically a collection which is based on the almighty God Shiva. So this particular collection is based on Lord Shiva. So all the design intricacies are basically woven across Lord Shiva. And this collection has been quite a success among not only Indians but internationally. There is a large following of Lord Shiva. People really love this collection. Then you have something beautiful collections, heavy collections like Atulya, which we launched some time back. Pia, Golden Weaves, Wildflower, and the list is endless. It's a huge collection. We have one of the best managed inventories in the country. The kind of collection what we have, there are very few brands today, not only internationally but in India, can offer. We are also the OEM of a lot of international brands globally who come and basically ask us to manufacture from them. Go to a collaboration. We have a collaboration with Masaba. She's a well-known designer, and with her we worked on a brand called Ghanagana. okay, which is basically based on the African tribe. This concept came from there, and this collection we had launched last year along with her, and this collection has been a great hit across the length and breadth of the country. People really love the collection. So if you basically look at a design concept, you always find it very different from what others have to offer. Then we have a collaboration with Swarovski, Confluence, which is the brand which basically markets Swarovski in India as well as globally as a jewelry when you talk about. So we are now one of the only official manufacturer of Swarovski in India. So whatever Swarovski manufactures in India mostly is manufactured by us. So we are the official manufacturer for Confluence jewelry in India. That's something what we pride about. Now coming to movie collaboration, there are very few brands which take the pride of being the official jewelry brand for blockbuster movies in India. We've done a lot of collaboration internationally as well in India, but there are two collaborations which I like to highlight, and these have been like known movies. I'll talk about Bahubali, Bahubali 1, Bahubali 2. Tribe has a collection called Bahubali, okay, which has been a great success. The complete movie, the complete collection, whatever in the movie they're wearing, so has been completely conceptualized, designed, and manufactured and marketed by Tribe. So this has been a very successful collaboration. And of late last year, we did Manikarnika, the Queen of Jhansi, which was again a very successful collaboration. We have a brand called Manikarnika with us, which has been like, people have been liking that brand, they've been buying, and they've been really successful. It's created a lot of aura around the brand, trust me. We've been like, it's like a lot of people, they come to know, to see the brand, they come, they experience the brand. So this collaboration has been very successful for us over the years. And we plan to go forward once things becomes okay. There's a couple of more collaborations which are coming in future. You will be able to see jewelry in some of the most best blockbuster movie in the coming days. We're known as a Tribe, as a branded tribal jewelry brand. So we have the signature collection also with us. These are masterpieces which are one of a kind. So a customer who buys it, a couple of pieces are only manufactured. So a customer who buys it, so it's a one of a case. And our customers do not use and throw away the jewelry. With them, Amrapali jewelry passes on for generation. If the mother is wearing it, then the daughter is wearing it, then her daughter is wearing it. So this is like people, like they keep a collection over the years, and it's like a masterpiece for them. So it goes on over the years, the complete generation passes by and wears it. If you happen to see, we are one of the most celebrated brands in the country. Any celebrity, any film star, any pastry worth his salt wears our jewelry, and they really adore it, and they have been very passionate about Amrapali. And Amrapali has always been a brand which has been close to the heart of most movie celebrities per se. Most of them, over the period of time, you will see them wearing our jewelry. We do a lot of marketing per se, a lot of PR happens. The brand is very PR active. So you will see us globally, international, New York Times. So all the kind of the top of the line magazines and the newspapers and online, they regularly cover Amrapali as a brand. So the brand is very well entrenched in the mind of any consumer. Today you go and ask any woman to try Amrapali, and of course she's able to recollect it within a second. Coming across to our stores, okay, how do our stores look like? This is basically how our stores looks like. All our stores across the country, they have the same look and feel. You go into any Tribe store, whether it's in Bombay, whether it's in Delhi, whether it's Ahmedabad, anywhere, you will see the same look and feel of the store. So our customer, what we want to give is 100% beautiful, pure retail experience to our consumer from the brand Tribe. So any customer walking into any of our store, he walks into a P3, he walks into a Select City, he walks into a West Mall, he walks into a Palladium Mall. So wherever you see in the store, you'll have the same look and feel. This basically, when we as a brand, when we talk about, we want to give 100% retail first class experience to a customer who is walking into our store This is basically how our store looks like. I just draw your attention to a few points, basically why one should basically go for fashion jewelry as a brand, invest in a fashion jewelry as a brand, as a franchisee. Affordable luxury jewelry constitutes about 57% of the global jewelry market today. What does that mean? Well, it means that the market for our kind of jewelry line is very large and getting even bigger as consumers increasingly prefer to buy branded products. So one of the other reasons why I'm today coming in is from here, why people are shifting to brands like Tribe. There are a couple of very, very strong reasons. Firstly, today, gold as a category has become 50,000 plus today. Okay, so the affordability for a consumer who wants to wear jewelry has become limited. So somebody buys gold, the next time maybe he'll not be able to again go after 2 weeks to buy a gold, or maybe a month so, because the price factors remains. However, for him to experiment and wear new designs on a regular basis makes it possible with a brand like Tribe Amrapali. Okay, so customer, every time he walks into a store, he's able to get to see new collection, new line. So for him, for every occasion, there is a product, be it a birthday, be it a marriage, be it a celebration, be it everyday wear. We have a product for each kind of product. The consumer from a lady who's 18 years old to a lady who's 60-year-old, per se. So we have a product for everybody. So how we have positioned ourselves? We have positioned ourselves as an affordable luxury jewelry segment. Okay, that's how we are positioned. We are a luxury, but then we are affordable. Okay, so customer who wants to buy the best, he gets it at the price, at the right price. We run a loyalty program for Pride Club, and we're proud that we've got 50,000 members, active members in the club. People who regularly come, buy, they get points, and they keep regularly buying. We're one of the highest visited brand on the social media platform, about 1.98 lakhs Facebook followers and 2.12 lakhs Instagram followers. Yes, I'm proud to say we are in one of India's most likable jewelry brand. What, as I mentioned, India's leading fashion jewelry brand. We are renowned for our magnificent pieces and rare craftsmanship. Our craftsmanship is very, very unique. If you see our jewelry, it's very out of space, different from what others sells. Handcrafted. Brand pull, we are a globally known brand. We have selling today to more than 120 countries across the globe. We regularly get orders for every corner of the globe. There are people who buy our products, whether they are Indians or Asians or people from any color, caste and creed. We have a consumer who basically buys, and of course, we are one of the best brands from these Bollywood celebrities wear. Blockbuster movie collaborations. This gives us a lot of brand pull, the consumer recall. And of course, we are into the online business, but we are successfully running a very successful offline business, which is EBO's business across the major countries across India. Coming across to the business model per se, how basically what are our requirements per se from a franchisee? What do we expect from a franchisee? So we got two kind of model broken up into two classes of centers. One is the A-class centers and one is the B-class centers. When I talk about a A-class center, I'm talking about metropolitan cities like Bombay, Delhi, Calcutta, Madras, Bangalore. When I talk about a B-class center, I'm talking about something like a Lucknow, Jhansi, Jabalpur, Chandigarh. So these are basically B-class centers per se. So we got two kind of model. One is outright purchase and one is SOR, sale on return basis. So what we expect from basically a franchisee is 250 to 300 square feet of space in an A-class center, 50 lakhs of investment in stocks, and 35% commission if you buy outright. Similarly, if you look at the B-class center, again, 250 to 300 square feet of space, 30 lakh of investments in stock, again, a commission of 35%. So this talks about basically the outright purchase model. Then I come to the deposit model per se, which is an SOR. So in this, what happens, in a place like Delhi, if you take up our franchisee, you pay us a deposit of 50 lakhs, against which we supply you stocks of 50 lakhs. And that you get a margin of 30%. Similarly, you come to a B-class center, again, 250 to 300 square feet of space, what you require, 30 lakhs investment in terms of stock, where that's a deposit, and again, a commission of 30%. So this is basically the financial part of what I was talking about. Support areas, how do we support the brand per se? Firstly comes the operational support. We help the franchisee set up the store from scratch. Right from the time he's selecting the property as to what are the properties select, when it fits our brand profile, helping him selecting the property, and then completely doing up the store and making him understand in terms of giving the complete brand guidance, in terms of the complete design outlook as to how the store should look like, the complete support in terms of how it should come up, and then completely helping in choosing him the inventory per se, the merchandising part, what kind of products he's going to sell there, how can you sell there, what is the price point. So we have a well-oiled team which takes care of the merchandising. We have been selling this brand for the last 6 years. We know at which particular center what sells, at what price point, what kind of products. So basically we supply the franchisees the same kind of merchandise. Suppose he's sitting at Chandigarh, we know Chandigarh as a market, what moves, or in maybe a place like Jhansi, or maybe a place like Bangalore. So we know every place is slightly differs. So we know what kind of merchandise is going to sell, and accordingly we do the complete merchandising planning on behalf of the franchisee and helping choosing the right merchandising. Of course, the training part, which is very, very important. We completely train up the complete sales staff as well as the complete operations team and the owners who are going to run the business on a day-to-day basis from Tribe, which takes care of everything, like for sales training, the operation training, the accounts part. So this is a completely well-oiled training where we explain you every part of how this business is going to run on a day-to-day basis. Then we help you with the POS, the point of sale, okay, in terms of visual identity, how it's going to be there. Then you have the loyalty program already in place, which makes ensure that the consumer comes back to you on a daily basis once he's enrolled with you. So because the program, if you go through, you can visit our website and see the program. It's a very well-oiled, nice program, okay, which really gives the consumer an opportunity to come back to your store again and again and buy from you. Of course, the marketing material and promotion part of it, as you told, we heavily invest in our brand. Over the last 7 years, we have invested in this brand and made this brand a household name in the country. So, of course, that goes without saying. We do a lot of marketing, especially we are very, very aggressive in terms of online marketing. So what do you look at? What do we look at when we choose a franchisee? We are choosy about a franchisee. We want the best people to partner with us because we want the right fit to run this business. Because the franchisee, end of the day, is going to run this business for us. He's going to be the face of Tribe. So we make sure there's the right fit and it's a long-term association. We basically like to go with a franchisee who's got a retail experience, is basically helps in running the business on a day-to-day basis, because in terms of interaction with the customers, basically, or that he understands the customer psyche, so he already has an understanding, so he has a better space to run the business. Of course, entrepreneurial mindset, excellent customer service. Of course, if he's got a design background, we would love to have him on board. So if he basically has an understanding of the design, it really helps him. Energy, perseverance, optimism. Yes, one of the most important points, the willingness to personally devote full-time efforts in running the stores. When you start this particular business, any business you start, we expect the franchisee to handhold the business, and we also, just like we handhold them, we expect the franchisee to handhold the staff and everything for a minimum period of at least a year till the store is up and running successfully. Of course, eagerness to learn, appreciation of the brand Tribe. He needs to really get into the groove and really skin off the brand, what the brand is about. He needs to be passionate about selling this brand. And of course, he has to have a solid financial foundation, the right financials. So that's about it. I did not want to be very long. Any questions?
Thank you, Devashish. I think you're always very elaborate in terms of your presentation, and we know your passion and your experience in the jewelry trade. You have been part of this and now part of Amrapali, which is undoubtedly the leader in this space. And I clearly see the opportunity now because between all of our experiences, we've been talking about fashion jewelry. And I think, but this is a time where fashion jewelry would start thriving because of, as one, on the gold price is going ridiculously high and they're not coming back, reducing. So, and second, I think the design sense and the finish, which was always a challenge in the fashion jewelry, as now with the kind of capabilities Amrapali has to finish and design that in different metals and different structures. So I think that there is a huge opportunity. So we will go into a little deeper into the whole business model now. And for our audience, it's very important that they understand the business model. What you said is that there are two models which you have. One is outright, which means that the franchisee would buy the stock from you, and all the shrinkages or anything which happens in the stock, which means that if leftovers are there or slow moving stock is there, this would become a responsibility with the franchisee. You don't take any stock back, or you still do some kind of a stock correction with him. That's one question. Second,
we do, but since this is a buy and sell model, so there's a two-pronged difference between both the model. I will just explain to you. Here, what we do is we invoice it to the customer or to the franchisee in the first model, and on the second model, what happened? The invoicing doesn't happen. In the second model, it goes on consignment. So what happens in the second model is like consignment. The franchisee keeps selling and he keeps remitting me. So we have broken it into 4 parts: W1, W2, W3, and W4. So week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4. So in week 1, if a franchisee sells 8 lakh worth of goods, the week 2 we raise him an invoice, okay, minus his commission, and he has to again pay. And we replenishes the same amount of goods. Okay, so that's how the cycle works in the second model. Where in the first model, what happens was the franchisee buys in the complete stock, then he keeps replenishing as he keeps selling. Okay, so when the second replenishment he'll again pay me, he'll buy the stocks. So that's basically, that's why the margin level is right. So the risk becomes of slightly higher. So that's the reason there's a more kind of a margin there available over there.
just to stay on the first part where you actually bill it, invoice it to the franchisee, and the stock is actually in the books of the franchisee. That's what we're trying to do. And what kind of stock can we do? So if there is a slow moving stock, or after some kind of EOS or structure, what is the stock correction? Is there a percentage of stock correction you do, or you would correct?
Whereas in the second model, the stock correction is always there. It is within 150 days you can do a stock correction if the stock is not moving. Okay. Whereas in the first model, this is something which we do on a need-based basis. If it is really required, we do it, but it's not a regular practice like in the second model. It's on a very need-based basis. If there is something which we feel which is not rightly moving, okay, so then that's the time we can do that correction. But then the first model, the stock correction is not very prevalent. Like the second is that model is only connected with stock correction. So something is not moving 150 days, you can always exchange it for the new lot.
Sure.
Yeah. First model is basically yes, of course. You do not have that luxury of exchanging it again and again.
Okay. Now I have 2 more questions. One, when you do the second model, which is SOR model, sale or return model, where you are doing a consignment model, which used to be the older practice long back. Every company, especially in fashion and other cases, used to always work on a consignment model, where the stock is actually transferred to the point only when it is sold from the store. It's actually billed to the. So GST number would
absolutely. I just mentioned that to you.
Yeah, GST number would remain with the franchisee, or you would maintain your own GST.
See what happens, as I told you, it goes on a consignment to the franchisee. It's a complete online billing system. So the minute the franchisee punches in the invoice, okay, it comes to my system as sale. So if billing is done through an online system of mine, it's completely system integrated. Any orders, everything is systemly integrated. So the minute you punch in, we come to know here whatever is your sale. So what happens? We raise an invoice post every week to the franchisee. So from a consignment to whatever he sold, it becomes a sales. Am I clear?
Just I'm making everybody clear because a lot of people don't understand retail function. The stock remains in the franchisee space. Against that, franchisee puts a deposit. The stock actually is in the books of the company.
Absolutely.
Sale happens, it gets brought to the franchisee, and franchisee from his own GST number bills that, and company after 1 week would bill the franchisee and take the money with a sale. That's how the SOR works. So it has stock risk.
Yes.
Having zero stock risk. You are again having a deposit, and tomorrow when you want to say not continue, the deposit can be returned and the stock can be returned back to the company.
Yes.
After the reconciliation, short sale or something else.
Yes.
Now let's go to the
yes.
What happens on the end of season sales, because a lot of promotions you will run. So the discount you're given is a flat discount.
Yeah, I'll explain you. While you will experience this with mostly other 99% brands who either are franchised or not franchised across the country, they will have different discount structures across different hotels, different formats. But Tribe as a brand, and that's why maybe the reason we have been successful in our franchisee business, and more and more people are getting associated with us. Whenever we run a particular discount, it becomes applicable across the board to everybody, to all our partners. Now, up till a range of 20%, we absorb it. Sometimes what happens as an industry, as you just mentioned, slow moving stocks. Of course, the franchisee is not able to sell it. He sells it back to me. Now, what do I do of the stock? Sometimes stocks which have been stuck with me for a longer period of time, I sell it on a higher discount. Now, here the franchisee has the prerogative. Either if I sell it at 30% suppose discount, the franchisee has the prerogative to either sell it, get it from me, sell and not to sell. Till 20% is something which as a discount, as a brand, I observe. If it is over 20%, I share it 50% with the franchisee. Suppose if the X brand is not moving with me per se over a longer period of time, and I plan to put it on my website and other places on 30% sale. Suppose the franchisee is carrying that goods, or he's not carrying, maybe he wants to get that goods and particular buy. And what happens, 50% I share, 50%, 50 franchisee share. So till a level of 20%, I do not charge anything from the franchisee per se.
So up to 20%, there is a flat, whatever 30% discount on MRP.
Yeah.
Comes your,
yes.
Anything above that, a company goes 30%, 40%, then 50% comes from a franchisee margin and 50% comes.
Suppose it's 30%, 15% is franchisee, 15% is me.
So now my next question is that all the stock which you are billing now, is it on a wholesale price, which means that the MRP stock value would be on the top of it, or this is a MRP level which you are talking about?
All our products are MRP'd. So when it goes across the country, any store, anywhere, you will find two pieces. Suppose one piece is lying in Calcutta, one piece is lying in Delhi, one piece is lying in Udaipur. The same price that piece carries, it's on MRP.
No. My question is that when you give 50 lakh rupees of stock, is it at the wholesale price, which means that the stock level at the...
No, it's at the MRP price. It's not at the wholesale price.
Technically, the investment...
Why I tell you? Yeah, once you bill, when I bill him finally, that's the time I give him the discount. I can't give him the discount when I'm selling it on a SOR model, in the SOR model. As far as when the purchase, the first model is concerned, when I bill him, it's a complete billing model. I completely reduce his 35% margin and give it at a wholesale price in the first model. In the second model, however, what happens is that I am not able to pass because I'm not any discount to him because I'm not billed him. That product can be returned to me. So when he sells to his customer, then only at the time I'm able to pass on the discount to him. So that is the reason it is MRP price. MRP. It's not the wholesale.
The overall investment would come down. Technically, the investment he's doing is much lesser because he gets stock on 50 lakh rupee stock, but there is a discount which he gets back. So technically, his investment is lesser than the stock.
See, I will be clear on that. So he gives me 50 lakhs, I give him goods worth 50 lakhs MRP. Once he sells it, then what happens? I reduce his discount and I is in 30%, and I ask him to pay the money to me. He pays off, then I send him the next plot. He orders to me, suppose 8 lakh worth of goods. So I send him 8 lakhs worth MRP value of goods. That's how the whole process works.
It would have been better if he had the wholesale price, because the investment level would go lower and the return on investment can be calculated much better on that. That's my advice, because
Okay.
that perspective. So think over it. So I think this should ease out the structure. Otherwise, just the money is stuck with the principle. So I
told you the issue over there. Maybe this is a suggestion. We'll try and work on it.
Because these days everybody wants to be wise in terms of their investment cycle. So I'm just advising on perspective on that. So where you think there is a huge opportunity for you, where you feel there would be a great opportunity? Because I personally feel markets like Bhubaneswar, Ranchi, Guwahati, Lucknow, Kanpur, Gujarat is a big market, Surat, Ahmedabad. These would be very, very good markets.
Absolutely.
Any particular markets?
Absolutely.
You're very popular all over India. We see your stores at the airport. We see in the top of the malls. And Amrapali is actually very, very strong name. Even in south of India, very, very strong in Hyderabad. And
So if you look at the market collaboration, as you rightly pointed out, our maximum sale comes from south, followed by north, west, and east. So south, west, and north are big market for us. Okay. So a huge contribution of sale comes, and as you rightly again pointed out, as a brand, we are known everywhere. We keep getting calls from places like Nasik, small center, people telling us, we want to buy a jewelry, but there's no store here. So we have to automatically tell him to go online and buy. But there are a lot of people, the customers calling up and asking, do you have a store here? I want to go and buy. So there's the kind of brand connect we have with the customer, per se. So as a brand, we are very strong everywhere. But if you ask me the mix, how the regional mix is there, that's what I clearly pointed out to you.
Okay, I'll take one more question and then I'll pass it on to Sonia. So can you also do some kind of a projection for two perspectives? One, what is the average ticket size in your business? What kind of a bill average customer would do? And say a woman comes in and buys a jewelry, what is the average bill? Second, what kind of sales cycle we will be able to see to stock to turnover ratios? So stock to turnover is the business which retail works on. And so if you are putting, say, 50 lakh rupees stock in a city and a 30 lakh rupees, what is the stock ratios of fashion jewelry able to do?
Yeah. So answering your first question, okay, average ticket price again differs from store to store. It is very, very different. You step into Palladium, it's on a very high pedestal. It's 3,500 to 4,000. You go to Select City Mall, Delhi, it's around 3,000. You again go to East. Okay, so it's again around 2,500. But basically, if you average it out, it's between 2,500 to 3,000 minimum. That's the first part of your question. Second, yes, all are basically stores, which includes our own and franchisee. They do around 2.5 stockers. Yeah.
2.5 stock means that you will be able to churn around stock.
Yeah. Again, difference from outlet to outlet. So I just mentioned between 2 to 2.5.
So which means that the potential sales in a year for a bigger store would become say about a 1 crore 25 lakh rupees. And
yes. In a good big market where the store is there in a very good location, yes, that kind of is there.
So on a
Yes,
conservative
yes.
side, let's take A city is a 1 crore sale. On a B city, it is anything 60 to 70 lakh rupees sale cycles. And if you do 60, 70 sales
Yes.
cycles and you are
Certainly.
so 30% margin would become about
Yes.
20 odd lakh rupees for you, 20 lakh rupees. Out of that, you have to give rent and you have to pay your team structure. So if you have a rent which is less than a lakh of rupee and you have some manpower with you, then you can make about a lakh of rupee on the sales. And in a bigger city, it would go down to about 30, 35 lakh rupees. After that, you have to pay rent and also pay uh, uh, so the earning potential in this business would be about 1 lakh to 2 lakh kind of. Is it right judgment, Devashish?
Again, it depends from center to center, store to store to store. The stores, firstly, are not very big. So that rental part is not going to be a huge. So I'm talking about 200 to 300 square feet of store space. So it's not going to be very big. So the rentals usually for a franchisee is not is not going to be a big hit, because rent is one thing which basically is a major part of any franchisee expense. So here, because the store format is not very big, okay, so within 300 square feet, so that particular rental part is quite controlled. So he has the propensity of making a better ROI per se. So it depends again from store to store place. In a B class center, he is able to break even faster because of lesser rentals, faster movement. So ROI in a maybe a major bigger center, maybe it takes slightly more time because the rentals are higher. So,
So my suggestion would
so
be that
that's what basically.
which is less
Yes.
than 1 lakh rupee, 75,000 rental, put two people, and then you will be able to make about a lakh of rupee, the smaller format, so B cities. And if you are in a bigger city, if your rental is about say
Yeah.
1.5 lakh rupees, even a good place, then also you make about a lakh and a half or 2 lakh rupees kind of a.
Yeah.
It is not a bad
Yes.
return because your capex is low because you have a very small store to do interiors. And stock, if you take it on SOR, you have no risk on the stock. So technically, if you see from that perspective, it becomes a good return on investment. So Sonia, over to you now. If you want to ask Devashish a little bit more on the business, and maybe you can ask more on the design side also, because I have no idea on what designs would work and why would they work. And
Thank you so much, Devashi. I think on the business model, pretty much we have tried and covered. And I think stock is one element which is the biggest risk for anybody. In these times, people are a little skeptical about the investment they're making. So I'll try to pick up some.
None of my franchisees carry any debt stock, because within 150 days, if he is not able to liquidate, he straight away returns it to me. Okay.
Sure. So I would just say, I think
So there is no basically loose stock or dead stock along.
great. So, Vish, I'll do take up some questions, and I understand, Amrapali is one of the respected brands
So
in the
that's the
jewelry
best part of
sector.
this.
I see some people asking questions, where is the international footprint? So for, just for everybody's consumption, I think some people would have missed that. I think Tribes Amrapali is one of the brands which is most revered. You will find not only Indian celebrities, you can go on the website and check the kind of celebrities and the lines they have created. And not only Indian, but a lot of Hollywood big shots like Rihanna, Jennifer Lopez, and Scarlett Johansson are some of the names the brand is currently engaged with, and they consume and they use their jewelry. And they're also available in a lot of high-end stores. They export to 120 countries, which you just mentioned, but they're also available in high-end stores in London like Harrods and Lafayette. And anybody who's traveling abroad in any of these locations would definitely find both at airports and high streets the brand Amrapali being present. And I feel, and I personally believe, over these years, the brand has created a very big brand equity. And they were also one of the first to also create a jewelry museum in Jaipur. That was around, I think, about 2 years back they did that, which is also a very great source of inspiration for many, many budding designers. So on the design, I'd like to understand what kind of designs, because you did talk about the tribal designs. Is that what you do, or there is a hybrid designing which also takes into consideration maybe these modern designs, or these are typically Rajasthani or traditional designs that are done? because I was reading the founders had been traveling all across Rajasthan and many other locations to actually, incorporate that traditional design element in Tribe. So a little bit on that, if you can tell, and what are the various categories and
Yeah.
which is the highest selling category that you have?
Yeah. Okay. Rightly pointed out, the core is of course comes from there. But then if you look at our complete portfolio, I was just showing you sometime back in my presentation. So I am also selling something very cheap for the modern woman. Very is something a brand called Confluence Swarovski. Okay. So very unique collections from there. On the other hand, I'm wearing very traditional wedding wear. On the other hand, I'm selling something which is tribal, very experimental for the modern woman, yuppie. So we developed and moved on. Okay, and now as a brand, as I told you, we have a complete portfolio of products per se. Although our basic design concept remains the same, but then over the years, we have like basically gone ahead and we have diversified, and right now we have a very rich portfolio of designs. If you get time, please visit our website and see. You'll be able to see a very rich portfolio of design. Chandrika happens to be our largest selling brand. Okay, till today, when you talk about a fashion jewelry segment, if people know about what fashion jewelry is about, any particular design or any particular collection, it's got a maximum shelf life of 6 months, max. Chandrika has been able to survive. It should go into an Harvard case study. That particular design is there with for more than 3-4 years now. Okay, and still it's the largest selling category for us. So that is something which speaks volumes. Still people come to us. This Chandrika, as any Amrapali customer, if you ask, if the customer knows what Chandrika is and then knows Chandrika is, and they are like really in love with the particular collection, and that's supposed to be a high selling collection, and it sells like hotcake.
And I'm also seeing your website, and they also do a lot of festival lines like Diwali, and there's Raksha Bandhan, which is coming up. And
Yes, you see a beautiful range of Rakis over there made in silver and base metal for our valued clients. So we do a lot of occasion-based collections per se. When you come to Diwali, we got a lot of 1 gram gold coming up. Okay, then if you were talking about Raksha Bandhan, you got a Rakhi collection. Then if you got a Valentine's Day, we do a lot of stuff like in Swarovski. So based on the occasion, we do a lot of occasion-based collection, and the complete marketing mix is completely focused on that. So there's a complete strategy behind it. Okay, so the complete collection is a complete marketing plan to how to push the strategy, which channel to push, which consumer to push. So it's a well-known strategy which we apply. So we make sure that the customer comes into the store, walks into the store, buys our products, experiments our products, buys our products, and he's a happy consumer.
Okay. One question which I want to ask, because we're very, I think every company is going very bullish online, and so is Tribes, and I see a lot of online sales which are happening, and everybody is going online because of the current situation. I wanted to understand, because we have now physical stores and we have online presence, what happens to the sales if that sales is happening from a certain territory or a certain location? Will the franchisee have any kind of interest or contribution in online sales? How is that defined?
Okay. See, post-COVID, what happened is that is very difficult because, I get order from places like Jaunpur. Okay. There may be a customer next door in Kanpur or Lucknow. So it becomes really impossible to control that because it comes on a day-to-day basis across the globe. So that is something which cannot happen. Yes, of course, what we have done, we allowed our franchisees now that if he wants to basically sell from his own website, he can create his own website, and or maybe on video call, he can ask the customer to buy from the store, or he can upload his whole stock on his own website and sell online also. So that is easy for his consumer. Okay, so that's what we looking at the COVID stage. Till this the problem continues, we have allowed our franchisee to do that. So that franchisee does not lose his business per se.
Okay, and if you have to compare, because this category has many other big names which have come in, especially, from the fashion sector, and a lot of international brands have also now forayed in India. They're selling, I would say, demi-fine or fashion or fine jewelry. How would you compare yourself with them, and what kind of pricing difference you have vis-a-vis these companies?
See, firstly, what happens is mostly all my products are manufactured and designed in-house. So I have a complete control on the whole supply chain, complete system and everything. So what happens for most of the other brands is that they get it third-party manufactured and then they come and they sell it, and a lot of them are fly-by-night operators. Today, customer comes to me after even 4 or 5 years telling me there's some problem, my hook is broken by chance, by mistake, although we were very, very sensitive and a very, very failure-proof system. Customer comes to me because of usage, something has happened, and we still go back and repair and give him back the piece. We are a long-term player in this market. As I said, Amrapali has been there in the market for the last 45 years. We are not a fly-by-night operator. We are not running away for a franchisee, for a customer. We are there. We have been there and we are here. There are a lot of people who will come in. You might have seen a lot of websites which have come in and simply vanished over the years. You've seen the .com bubble burst. So I need not say more.
Okay, having answered that, we did talk about locations, we did talk about rent. I do have somebody who has a property of about 115 square feet and he wants to use that. If you can also give clarity on the kind of locations that would work.
Good question. See, for our kind of a brand, how it works is that, of course, the mall we have seen has done significantly good business for as a brand of like us. Most of our stores are located in a brand. Second option is in a good high street location, which has got good branded store or ladies store, ladies basically stores like Biba and Tanesh. I'm just giving you some example, which are near the nearby vicinity, so that customer who comes walks to that locality, since we are a premium brand, okay, so we are slightly conscious in terms of the location where we are. So because the profile of the customer is such, we have got a very educated base of customer. Most of our customers are a very educated lot. Okay, so they basically businesswomen, they are housewives and they are working women. They've got all sort of them. They're students, but they are well educated. They know the brand. Okay, they ask us very intelligent questions. So what happens? Either shopping mall or a good area and a good high street location in that brand.
Okay, this is one good question which has come up and I like to take up that. This is from Prakash Mandhania. He says, and today, because you're doing both online and offline, and there has to be a compelling reason why a consumer should go to a physical store. If I have the convenience of shopping everything online, a new design comes in and I can go online and buy that. Mostly people don't have a reason to go to the store, try and experience and see the entire range. So the question says, the new ranges which are being launched, will they be a store first and then online? How would that differentiation be made? And what is the value advantage or, competitive advantage a physical store would have over?
Answer all your questions. Firstly, jewelry over the years is always been a try-on product. Just like you go and try your clothes, jewelry has been a try-on product. It's proven to go and experiment. A woman spends around an hour who steps into my stores, trying out various designs, which luxury she doesn't have when she shops online. So what happens? Places where my stores have come up, to be very honest, my online sale have dipped. Because the customer, you go to Delhi, they say, we know the Tribe store. We go there and buy. You go to Bombay, they go say, we go to the store because she has the luxury, go and park, spend 1 round in the store and she gets to see anything and everything. Yes, second motivation coming to that, when I launch a collection, when I launch a new line, the same day when the collection is launched across the stores and across online on my portal. So there is not a single day difference. Today I am launching and after 10 days it goes to the franchisee. The exclusive stores get it at the same point, 1 day before the launch or 2 days before the launch, the collection is at the store. Okay. At the time of the launch, the marketing and with the company and the company website.
Okay, I think there's one question which
have I answered it?
Yeah, so which means that, and just to clarify for everybody, all the products which are launched simultaneously at online and offline stores. Okay, one question, we did talk about the average ticket price and that varies across the regions and maybe the spots where the store is running. But what is the average range? Starts from what range to and goes up to what range?
I start from 500. We started 500 rupees and we go up to 1 lakh of rupees.
Okay, so that was one question. So, okay. Great. And also I'll add, today because rentals have come down, it will be wise if we look at locations and because rationalization in terms of rentals is there, and the rental that currently exist are much lesser than what they existed maybe 4 or 5 months back. So that's a positive
Absolutely.
impact, I would say. And as far as the stock is concerned, the SR model also de-risks the investors where the stock is taken back by the company. And these are two big elements, I would say, the interiors, which is the capex on the stock. And in your case, maybe the interiors, that cost might not be too high, but the stock itself is very high on the investment. And that's where the investor is risk today. Last question, Devashish, which I like to ask is, what is the appropriate profile of people that you think are the right fitment for a business model like yours?
See, uh, basically somebody who has a right entrepreneurial mindset, has maybe prior experience in retail. I just mentioned some time back, because that really helps him. Somebody who is able to devote time initially into the business, okay, for at least minimum period of 6 months per se, okay, understands jewelry as a business much better, and of course has a clean track record and a good financial acumen and a financial track record. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Devashishi. I was trying to locate more questions. I think we've tried and covered as many questions, and the rest I feel we can also take offline as we come near towards the closing of our session. So, any last words that you want to say to the audience present on the webinar, and maybe then over to Gaurav for his
Yes.
final remarks.
See, finally, what I want to say is that you should, before taking up a franchisee, you should do your due diligence. You should sit across the table, understand what the brand is about, understand the complete financials. Okay, basically before venturing into it, because we are a very transparent brand. Okay, so we share each and every aspect of the business with you. So tomorrow you do not come back to us that this was not said to us. We have a complete legal agreement in place, which is a complete two-sided agreement. It protects the interest of the franchisees, protects the agreement of the organization per se. Okay, it's not one-sided. So for a franchisee, it's a complete backup for him. If tomorrow, if something happens, he has always something to fall on. Okay, so we had a very well-oiled mechanism. It's played very professionally. This particular division is a very separate division. Amrapali is completely professional division, and we have been running online business very and offline business very successfully across the last few years. Okay, so modern retail is something what we understand well. So the franchisee has to understand the lineage of the brand. What is the lineage of the brand? Who are the promoters of the brand? Who are they associating with? There are many brands which will come in the market, offer you more margins, and suppose tomorrow they down shutters. What happens? So you have to do your complete due diligence. It's not only for the financial point of view per se. It's an overall holistic approach as to when you take up a franchisee, you have to investigate and understand every aspect of the business. If it is a jewelry business, how successful is going to be, whether you will be able to manage it successfully, do you have an understanding? Okay, do you have the resources? So everything has to be done prior to it. That's what is my suggestion to any prospective franchisee per se.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Devashishi. I would say, maybe the brand is very aspirational. Affordability is one element which is important for the end consumer, and also very strong customer acceptance, along with celebrity dressing, which people see on social media, which really influences the buying. And all of that is kind of very well encapsulated in your model. We really wish you all the best. And this is one brand we're very proud of as far as India is concerned, and we very happy to see the success in the last 7 years which Tribes Amrapali has achieved. So over to you, Gaurav, for your final remarks. And
Thank you. Thanks, Ashish. I think very well. We already started receiving a lot of inquiries, and we will encourage that if you have retail experience or you come from a market where you think there is a huge opportunity, it's an opportunity for you to partner with an established brand. And any one of you would like to set up maybe a little more detailed call, because a lot of things we can discuss on a webinar, but every location is unique. Every entrepreneur aspirations are unique, and they need to really do their own validation. They are also serious corporate, serious business group. They are also very keen on looking at getting some really good partners. They are also open for some international markets. If you are open for some other markets also, you will feel that this can go to many other countries also. I feel that stores like Tribe Amarpali can be in London or Dubai or Dhaka or Kathmandu, anywhere it can be a very good opportunity. So if you are through our Facebook, we are reaching out to a lot of people globally. So if you are interested, so please reach out our hotline. We've started a hotline number because a lot of people were complaining that they want to reach out to people after they have seen this webinar. They want to quickly reach out to the brand to have their discussions going. And sometimes in the delay, they lose the site or they lose the location. They also have a lot of shortlisted location of their own. If you say you come from a particular city and you don't have a location in mind, they would have a location in mind and they would be able to get the best spots because they run today almost every prime location. They run on airports, they run on top malls in India. So they have a very strong relationship with mall owners and so on and so forth. So please reach out. The hotline number is 971-76-8388. So we will write that. So Archana has already written that number on the chat box. You can see that and send your message, and we will immediately take it with Devashish and team. Over to you, Archana, for a thank you note.
So thank you so much, Devashish, for taking out time and explaining the
Thank you,
value
Archana.
this particular brand, premium brand carries. Really helpful. Thank you, Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am, for summarizing the entire business model in your final words and giving us all those suggestions. Thanks all the participants who have joined us today. We really appreciate the efforts put in by each one of you every day. But before you go, you can also connect with Sonia ma'am and Gaurav sir at their respective LinkedIn IDs. As Gaurav sir said, we have hotline number which is there for you. You can connect at this hotline number that's there in your chat tool. But before you go for today, and we say final goodbye for today, another great brand. Imagine the legacy of 48 years. Hyderabad's fast-growing supermarket chain, and we have privilege that Sheetal ji is talking, who is a partner at Hind Market, talking about this great brand tomorrow, sharp 12 o'clock, live with you guys. Do not miss this chance and try to see what kind of the value proposition and business model they're offering for each one of you.
And if you are also, especially from Gujarat, if you have a property of your own which suits the supermarket, they're also offering a franchisee owned company operated. They are a very strong operators, very, very reputed. While there are a lot of bigger players like Reliance, Future Group have entered the market, but their market share has been even more stronger because people trust their quality, they trust their experience. They are most organized and the oldest organized supermarket chain available probably in the country. So we're bringing the founders themselves, the family which started the in supermarket. So please join in tomorrow, especially if you are coming from Western region and especially from Gujarat. This can be a huge, huge opportunity for you.
Sure. So do not miss this chance and get information how franchisee invested company operated and franchisee invested franchisee operated model works for Hind Market. Recorded version of this particular and all already previously done concluded webinar is available at the Franchisee India Brands Limited Facebook page. You can also visit us Franchise India Brands Limited page for the confirmation for tomorrow's webinar. That's the hotline number. We'll repeat the hotline number again, 97176-83838. Do share your feedback, suggestions, your queries at this number. Thank you so much for joining us today. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Thank you.